Hi, Fabulous, and welcome back to the Fab Over 40 show. Ali here. And this episode feels really like a really important one because it brings everything I've been talking about recently back into real life. So, for a long time, I believed the key to building a business was more time, like more hours, more space, more availability, more freedom. But in reality, I didn't have that. It was what I was trying to aspire to. I thought if I start using what I called tiny pockets of time to build, then I would receive those things. And that's what I was doing in small windows, like I said, what I call tiny pockets of time. And I still do. But if I'm honest, those moments didn't feel calm or aligned. They felt urgent, even if I wasn't acknowledging it. There's a strange noise in the background, and I'm going to be real and raw here. That is my tortoise. Don't know what he's doing. I gave him some of his favourite snacks, strawberries, and he's sort of making, I think he's got strawberry juice in his eye, and he's making weird hissing noise at the moment. Oh, bless him. So, yeah, if you pick up on any random, like, side note, I said, let's just keep it real. So, yeah, so I wasn't acknowledging it that it felt urgent. It was really, in reality, when I look back, it was, oh, when I focused on, like, if I do this, then I'll stop there, and then I'm gonna use that bit of time, and then it was like a panic. It was like, what can I do quickly? I need to make this work. I've got to get something done here. But at the same time, I I I loved what I was building, but there was this, like I said, underlining energy of pressure, especially as I consistently kept getting interrupted because I had a brick and mortar business, and I would think I'd work on the orders for my brick and mortar business, and then this sounds going to sound really weird, put the duck down and pick up my laptop and open my laptop, and it was like the universe was trying to do something, because or it was the energy that I was sending out, this desperate energy, because as soon as I opened that laptop, someone would come in and they would want my advice on building their own business or anything. There he goes again, bless him. It's like he's sneezing. He's trying to sneeze strawberry juice out of his nose. Never thought this was going to happen as I was going to record this. Yeah, so someone would always come and ask for help free of charge. There was a bigger light bulb to this, but that's what it was like. I was like these tiny pockets of time. Um, and when I did get something done, I thought I was being productive and disciplined and committed, and I felt inspired by that. I felt like I was doing the wrong things and the right things. But looking back now, I can see something very clearly. I was using those moments from a place of lack. I was trying to catch up, trying to fix something, trying to create certain results quickly. Because if I'm honest, at the time, this was sort of going through COVID, and even though I thought I was being positive and I was trying to build other sources of income to subsidize the drop in footfall, so I felt inspired. I thought I was being productive. I was being consistent, committed. There was this pressure on me to get it done and get. As I watched my income drop from the physical business, I was trying to create a subsidized income from the online business, and I was putting out this lack energy. But now it how I use tiny pockets of time. So the shift has been that now nothing about my time has changed, in a way that I still love tiny pockets of time and believe that's all people need in the beginning when they feel they haven't got enough time or money or anything, that you can do it in tiny pockets of time. But how I use them now is completely different. Now it looks like taking a breath first, listen to what actually feels aligned, and then choosing one thing. Not 10, not feel I should do this and a bit of that. One thing, no panic energy, and allowing it to be enough. And this is something I've only really truly started to understand recently. It was never about the time, it was about the energy I was bringing into those moments. And like I said previously, a lot of that was subconscious. I was doing what I loved, but underneath that, there was still this pressure driving it. Now that energy feels completely different because the lesson that I learned, it feels calm, it feels trustful, it feels open. And from that space, you allow something else to come through. We can allow clarity and we can allow guidance and we can allow inspired action to come through. Because now my tiny pockets of time are not for panic, pressure, or proving. They are for alignment, clarity, small intentional aligned moves. And then stop, reset, realign, and rest. And have faith and confidence. That's all it needs. Not what is the next thing. We forget to allow ourselves space to listen to the universe, to let it guide us to the next thing and reset and re-energize. So tiny pockets of time don't build your business, I believe now. Aligned use of them is the thing that does. So now when I feel that old energy creeping in, and I'm not going to lie, it still does sometimes. Sometimes it's more often than not. But that's about my alignment. That's a sign. I pause, I take a breath, and I slow things down and I allow myself to stop, which is opposite in some areas of or most areas, if I'm honest, of the message that we're getting. We're told to be consistent all the time or we can't be successful. And people boast about their consistency, but that's an energy and there's lack behind that energy. So if I've done things that I've been happy with and I feel that I've done enough and that's productive and I didn't expect to do that, yeah, I'm happy with that. Oh, I didn't post anything on social media. I'm like, just sitting that. I'm confident. I'm happy. I'm okay with that. I trust the universe that everything is working out for me. And even something as simple as thinking about gratitude can shift everything. We are led to believe to build a successful business online or the life that we want, we have to be hustling. We have to be doing things all the time. We can't slow down. We can't allow ourselves to stop. But that's what we need to do more of. Give ourselves time to reset and realign. And by just pulling out a journal and getting a cup of coffee and writing things down that you're grateful for, shifts your energy, shifts your frequency into a higher level of gratitude and takes us away from that lack. But we don't hear enough of that. Because when you're in panic or overwhelm, you're actually in a restrictive state. So you're not achieving anything anyway if you keep working. And you're actually cutting yourself off from the very things you're trying to create. And I'm starting to see people I really admired acting from lack, even now, because of the level of expansion that I've been going through in the last few months. I admired these people 6 months ago, and now I'm like, you don't even realize it, but that message, you say one thing, but you're doing something else because that is coming from a place of lack and you're projecting that onto other people. And I own up, I put my hands up, I bought into that. But like I said, in the last few months, I feel like I've expanded. I'm into a different level now, even in the last 2 weeks, actually. And you might be thinking, stop, take a breath. That's the answer. How am I going to get anything done? Like I said, it's restricting, especially when you hear like things like I sort of said, you have to post 1 million times a day on a billion different platforms, rah, rah, rah. How on earth am I going to slow down? But the truth is, from experience, you actually become more effective, not less. And in closing, I'm going to tell you something that might put that in perspective. I didn't plan to do this, but I feel now I'm going to express it. And now I can catch those moments and I can observe them and I can feel them and I can shift them those things that I wasn't aware I learned by the hard way. Now, like I said, I can catch them now because I've allowed that space. I can feel them. I can observe them. and I can recognize what I'm doing. And that gives me the capacity to shift. And next week, I now feel is going to be even more important than this week, even though I thought this was really important. It's led me on to think about something I want to discuss next week. And I'm going to go deeper into how to actually manage this in real time so you can get the most out of your tiny pockets of time. So if this resonates with you and you're thinking, this makes sense, but I don't know where to start, if you've listened to other episodes, you already know this, but I've created something for you. It's called the Aligned and Free Reset. And it's a simple, free starting point to help you shift from pressure into alignment. And you'll find the link in the show notes. And I want to thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for listening. And I can't tell you how much it means to me, because it is all, it's not for me. I do this for other people. This podcast, it exists for you, the listener. And this week I actually received an email I was not expecting, and I won't lie, I was pleased, but I was pleased in a way people would not expect. So the email was celebrating a figure, a milestone on the downloads and streams of this podcast. And this was evidence to me in a shift in my energy and proof of concept in what I believe in now. Now I embody an identity of the person I envisage I already am being at a higher level, and remembering who that person is. And that person is not hung up on semantics and stats and analytics, which is not the normal message either, that usually states things like, if you want something to grow, you have to know your figures. You need to know how many you've got your email list, so you know how much more you want to grow it. I feel that's like a state of lack as well now. And because, number one, that doesn't resonate with me. I can feel it as misalignment in my body. And number two, whenever I feel and trust in faith something is going to happen and I let it go, it does. I once got fixated. This is what I wanted to decide I was going to tell you. I once got fixated on something because I was told for the law of attraction to work. This was very early on in my journey, I'll have to point out. You have to pick a specific date for it to manifest by. But as that date got closer and closer, and there was no evidence of the thing I desired, fear and doubt kept coming up in my awareness. And I know they say just trust and have faith, but in all honesty, it was hard to ignore, and hard that nothing was happening. And I was more focused on it not happening and letting that fear and doubt come in, because of subconscious programming that most of us have got, and we're not told how to change it. And now I'm aware that this energy was blocking the very things that I wanted. But none of us want to do that intentionally. So the date came and went, and the thing I desired didn't arrive. I was like, oh, that didn't work. And then I just got on with my life and I let it go. And then, out of the blue, in a very short time later, this miraculous set of circumstances happened, one after the other. And the thing I desired manifested so weirdly, so easily and effortlessly. And I feel like every time I look at this, I feel like there was no work on my part. It was external from me and it just happened. And it happened better than I could have ever imagined. And this blew my mind because I could not shake it off. This told me there was something else going on here that we probably can't even begin to comprehend. And the closest way I could describe that, the way that I could describe that it is by reading a book by someone called Anita Moorjani called Dying to Be Me. So I've dropped the link in the show notes about that book as well, because I highly recommend you read it. In whatever your favorite format is, but there's a description that Anita gives in there, which I think describes, as best I've ever come across it, what reality, our reality really is, and that we're not even realizing it or tapping into it. And once you see that and you know it, and that leads me to thinking I better do an episode how I healed myself after an accident and shocked the clinicians 10 years ago, almost to the day, by making a decision to reread that book and making a secret pact with myself. So I better do an episode on that. And I later heard of something called the four levels of consciousness. You may be aware of them. And this is deeply, it affected me so deeply. It's embedded in a lot of what I call my work. And it made more sense of what happened to me in that situation. In brief, I'll only cover two layers in the four levels in of interest relating to this email. So level two, I said my apologies if you've already heard this thing, is called by me or by me energy. That is a very masculine energy, like when someone experiences or sees something that pains them, and then they make a decision to go all out and create a desired outcome based on that experience. Like they don't want it to happen again to them, or they don't want it to happen to other people. Like I said, they go all out to create this desire. And what, yeah, so I've lost my plot train of thought. My apologies there. Yeah, it's quite a masculine energy. You might have, you look at other people and especially very successful men. They're very driven and they've set these goals and they've got this success and they've gone after it. And once I stopped being level one, which I'm not going into now, but I will do another podcast, and I learned about the law of attraction, I became very much like that. And setting intentions and seeing results can come very addictive. But what happened to me had about going past that date, and then this miraculous set of circumstances, like I said, had such a deep impact on me. I wanted more of that, and that is called through me. That's level three. And this is when we co-create with the universe and let the universe work through us. And we let go and trust and let it inspire us and guide us. So getting that email was telling me I'd achieved this milestone without even trying. To me, that proves to me what I feel intuitively. It doesn't have to be hard work. And there is an easier and most likely faster way to have what you want that is a whole lot more fun than putting that pressure on yourself I was talking about earlier. And with that in mind, thank you so much for listening. And if you are someone who feels, yeah, I get this, and can recall an experience of hard work or see hard work as a default pattern and weren't even aware of it before, and please, 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 no pressure on yourself, because I always say we only know what we know and we can't be blamed for what what we're not aware of. It's when people ask questions and they apologize for asking questions. And I go, it's not a problem. You only know what we know until we know something different. And we usually only know something different because we ask questions. And if it's triggered a time when you get a throwback feeling where something happened effortlessly and miraculously, I would love to know about it. So keep going into those show notes, and there you'll find out how to contact me and let me know what that experience is. I genuinely would love to know. And remember, if you want a little reset energy, I have that gift for you also in the show notes. So until next time, remember, reclaim and rise, and I'll speak to you in the next episode.